Hello everyone, welcome to Titans Talk with Tania. We always talk about Titans, the heroes which are on screen, the players which are playing, but there are heroes behind the screens as well, and that is the way they manage the tournaments. And they don't only have to manage the tournaments in the way of prize pool, this, that, they have to manage the players, they have to manage the casters, they have to manage the production team, they have to manage the entire unit. And today the Titan is Method. Hello everyone. As we all see the tournaments that you enjoy, the players that you wait for, the teams that you want to win it out for, and it is all on the screens that you see. And the person who is behind the screens, who is managing everything, who is the main, who is the, I can say, the pillar of the tournament that has been happening, and he is none other than esports manager Method. Method, everybody knows you with the name, but nobody knows you in person. So please introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you for the great introduction. But of course, please know that it's not just me who works behind the end to make esports event a reality. There's a massive team with a lot of people working all the time. So, yeah, as you mentioned, I'm the esports project manager at Garena. My primary role is to make sure that all the first party events that we do for our players, we make the best experience possible for the teams, for the viewers, and of course, every single event that we do, it becomes bigger and better over time.
Absolutely. How did you join in into esports? Because it is just in 1 year we have seen such a boom coming up. But you are here since way too long. So how did you decide? With your education qualification, you could have gone anywhere, everywhere. You could have done anything. But how did you decide to go with esports?
So I kind of got introduced to esports at a very young age. For us, the industry is right now booming, but way back, when I started off, I was just a kid just playing Counter Strike 1.6 and hoping that hey, we can get 5,000 rupees from this Mountain Dew tournament. That used to be our millions of dollars worth of things. But yeah, from that very young age, I got a taste of what competitive video games are like. What really struck me about esports as an industry was that it brings a lot of different people together. We always will have players coming in from different nationalities, different cultures, all together, but because of our love of our game, we are together, and that's the only thing that really defines us. So this kind of thing for me is more about the community, and esports was a way of bringing people together, and that's what really interested me in this industry.
Okay.
So I started off, as a player, and then I transitioned into working as a manager, and then I worked for an organization, and then I started working more in the industry, and then I started working for a publisher where I am now. Yeah.
And your favorite event by far, one of you have, if you had to choose one. Yes, it is going to be tough. You have done so many events, but then
Yeah.
still, one of your favorite event that you have done.
For me, the most favorite event, of course, would be the 2020 FFIC. This was a massive challenge for us because this was the first time we were doing an event online. We were used to doing LAN events, and this was a big task. Everyone's working from home. We had people working from 3 different countries. So for us, working all of this together and making sure that the event is a success, that was really challenging. And for me, the best event that I worked on would be FFIC 2020. But of course, the best event that I've attended would be ESL Mumbai.
Oh,
This was the Dota major, yeah.
okay, that is in 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
2018. Yeah.
18, okay. The
Yeah.
project that you regret, that you wish you would have never done it.
Uh, the one I wish I'd never done it. This would be There was this one Overwatch project I'd worked on, which I wish I had not done because, of course, the event went fine, but it nearly killed my computer. It did nearly kill my relationship at that time. So yeah, it was a whole another thing. Yeah.
Okay, that is the project. And the best part of your work, because for us, I'll be very honest, for us casters, it is just that you give us the briefing, we come over here, 1.5 hour of speaking, and then it is all done, sorted. But for you, it is way much longer from the event. Maybe even before that, you have to manage every single thing. So the best part for that, because organizing any event is not equal to only one part. We have to only see through the camera, talk it about. But for you have to manage the casters, the production units, the players, the entry for each and everything. So what is the toll taking time? What is the most toll taking part of this work?
For any event, actually, the the more heavy part is the pre-production, when we haven't announced, we haven't planned anything. That's where
Oh.
it takes the most toll. Actually, when the event is live, it's much easier because you just have to worry about the production. Everything else is fine because you've already planned out everything. So the pre-production is where the real struggle is. And of course, for all of us working, any event that we do, we start off like months in advance so that we plan out every minute detail. Some things that people don't even realize. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes to make sure that an event is successful. It's not just as simple as, hey, we'll make a lobby, we'll start a stream, and that's it.
So what is that exact work? Can you explain us? Maybe in a short way, but yes, please. It would be great to know.
Yeah, sure. So of course, first of all, you have to come up with the objective of why you want to do a certain event. Like, what's this gonna benefit? Like, what kind of growth it's gonna give for the players? What's the reach? So you chalk it out in a nice, document that, hey, this is my idea. This is how it's gonna look. So the other thing is, of course, you want to make sure that how the event is perceived. Is it going to be a major event, a minor event, a grassroots event? So you have to again plan out a marketing strategy, a publishing strategy. Then you have to figure out what you want to do with the players itself, how the flow of communication is going to be. Because see, when it's a LAN event, it's a completely different thing. You have all the players in a physical area. We have, because of the pandemic, new challenges, and all of this has to be done online. So for us, we have to understand how the flow is going to be for players, from registrations to pre-registrations to once they are finalized, have a proper set of communication. So we draft all the strategies as well. Of course, we also have to make sure that players understand exactly what the rule sets are, what can and cannot work in this event. And so yeah, these are the pre strategies we work on. Then of course, like I mentioned, the publishing and the marketing goes through. Then of course, there's the video content that we work on. And during the live event itself, we have to prepare all that you see on the screen. So it's not just something that we just cook it up. It takes a lot of planning and a lot of testing to make it a reality.
So how long does it take? 1 month, 2 months, or even maybe more than that? Because the way you organize it, and it would be the exact work. The way you project it, it always looks so flawless. It always looks that yes, it is just a basic. We all are coming over here. We are doing a normal tournament, but indeed it is not. We know the watching where it goes. We know the responsibility that holds. Each and every team is counted. Each and every player is counted. You need to make sure that they are also coming up very friendly, very zestily, and everything. So, how long does it absolutely take to plan a project? And out of the after that, how it is executed very flawlessly?
So certain events, of course, depends on the timeline of how much time we have before we plan. So over here, we always try to make sure that all our events we plan to the best of our ability, so we give enough time. Generally, like what I see third party guys do is that they plan an event in the course of a month. That's generally their timeline, where they'll go through and have meetings with each other and figure out exactly how the flow from start to the end is going to be. And of course, even when an event ends, that's not where the event ends, because you still have
Okay.
to deal with a lot of different things with players. You have to get feedback from them as well to know what went right for them, what went wrong, so you can make the next event better. So all of this, of course, doesn't end even when the event has truly ended.
Okay, so you pre-work, post-work, everything is still way much longer than it shows. So to the viewers, I we must appreciate the hard work given. All we see is on screen, the 6 hours of on screen, your favorite teams battling, your favorite caster speaking, but it doesn't end there. Even post the stream, post the event, there are much more works that has to be completed, and those are completed by the esports manager, like the legendary man, we can say, Method, standing right in front of us. As you already initiated, you have been doing LAN events, and now due to pandemic, there's a lot of change. So, what are the pros and cons of both the events? Because for LAN, you have been doing it since so long, but if we talk about the current pandemic situation, it is only 1 year. So, the pros and cons of both the events.
So for LAN, of course, the biggest problem was getting the permits to do any kind of event. You need to work through a lot of different vendors, a lot of government bureaucracy to go through. So to make that a reality, you have to consider all that. With online, that's not a problem. It's all about how you manage the event. So there are pros and cons, of course. It's much more simpler to do an online event, but it's primarily because you have that layer of bureaucracy taken away from you. But of course, like I mentioned earlier, you have to do so many things pre and post event that the work is still there. I would personally say that I enjoy LAN events more, mostly because I do enjoy interacting with everyone and seeing the fans cheer for their favorite team. That's the best part of esports. But yeah, given the current pandemic, we just hope that things resolve quickly and then we can get back to doing LAN events.
Yeah, absolutely. We would want to see that the cheering, the shout, the crowds, everything is. Let's hope that pandemic gets sorted out real soon so we get to enjoy the LAN events way more zestfully, energetically. And apart from that, there's one more question. Just wanted to know where the journey started. Which is your favorite game genre that you have been doing by far, because you have been doing various tournaments, esports organizing, everything. So right now I'm seeing you in Free Fire, but before that you have been doing various other games as well. So which is your favorite game by far?
For me, that would be Overwatch. That was the first title for me that really exposed me more to the industry. With Overwatch, of course, I started off as a player, then I made it as a manager, and then I made it as a coach for Team India, where we went to the Overwatch World Cup in 2019. Uh, that was a big stepping stone for us as well. Yeah, Global Esports and I, we worked on this and we got the Team India to Los Angeles to play in the World Cup, which was a dream come true. So for me, obviously, Overwatch will always hold a special place in my heart.
And after that, which other sports or esports have you done?
Yeah, so I've worked on Overwatch, I've worked on Counter Strike, and now like you mentioned, I work on Free Fire.
Free Fire is the for current for the recent tournaments. It is always Free Fire that you're doing, or apart from that, you're also doing something else, or
No, only Free Fire.
only Free Fire. You're liking it. You're liking the Free Fire because the game genre which you have done, and over here it is a little different. So you because you need to make sure you give justice to your work. You need to like the work that you're doing. So you're liking this game as well as much as you liked Overwatch.
Absolutely. I mean, the Free Fire community is incredible, and it's similar in a way because how Overwatch for me mattered a lot. I can see that Free Fire matters the same for a lot of people. It's their first access to an esports, and it's made it possible because of how accessible the game is. So we see a lot of young talent coming in, and that's what I really want to see for esports in India. That you have the opportunities for young kids to make sure that they have a standing in this industry and they know how to carve their way out.
Yeah, absolutely. The love that we get from Free Fire industry, I don't think that sort of love is coming from any other India industry. And it is Free Fire who gave a moving esports, because previously it was all about PC gaming that was given so much of importance. But it is after Free Fire, the mobile events are increased, and with the easy way of getting Free Fire players are also way much more compared to any other esports. So yes, Free Fire has definitely changed the perspective of various young people, and may they get the growth. Okay, how's your family about your esports career?
Family's been good. I mean, of course, at the start, it's always been a struggle to exactly make them understand what is esports. But once you sit them down, make them understand that, hey, this is similar to, if someone was working in cricket or football, that's the same kind of industry I'm working on. It's just that it's digital, it's video games. So it takes time, but over the course of, 2 years, 3 years, they've understood what it exactly is. And yeah, it's been more supportive from then on.
Okay, so once the event gets over, everything is done. Is it the sigh of relief, or immediately once the one event gets over, it is to the second you move on, you step up to?
Yes, in a way, it's a sigh of relief, but also, you feel a bit bad because, hey, you've worked for the past so many months on this project, and then now it's coming to an end. So you, of course, have to say your tearful goodbyes to the project and move on to the next one. But yeah, in a way, it's a bittersweet thing. I'm happy, but I'm also sad.
Okay, it's both the sides inclusive. Okay, you have to fare a
Absolutely.
goodbye to the thing which you have given almost 3 to 4 months, or maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
So for the next event, do you pre-prepare, because you're already too much occupied over here? Then you don't get the time to go there. So do you get the time for pre-preparation, or it is all well set in your mind that this is the next event? Do you get the list for throughout the year that this you have to do, that you have to do, or it is all created once one event gets over, then you get the second one?
No, of course, we have a major list, before the year starts itself, we exactly know what we're going to be doing. And we prepare way in advance for each event. So, of course, when I'm working on one particular event, right during the end of it, we're always going to be starting to announce the next event. So, all of that has already been worked upon and, prepared well in advance. So, uh, for esports in India, we always tend to make sure that the circuit has a long trajectory where for an entire 1 to 2 years we know exactly what we're going to be doing at any moment of time. So yeah, it's all prepared well in advance.
And method, I've always seen you calm, cool, composed. How do you keep the temper in control? Because sometimes you do lose it. You have to managing so much at one single point, at one single time. But then still, you're always calm. You're always composed. We have at least never seen you shouting at anyone, even when we have seen the instances which makes any of us unhappy or the performances whatsoever. But still, you keep your cool. How is that possible?
Honestly, it's just the amount of time I've worked in the industry. I know exactly how to react to any situation and preemptively plan what's going to go wrong, because at any point of time something is going to go wrong. It's Murphy's law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and that does happen even with live events. Even though how much we plan it, things are going to go wrong at some time. So it's just about keeping a calm demeanor and making sure that you think it rationally and plan everything accordingly. So for me, it's just the more time I've spent, the more I've learned, and the more I'm able to do this.
Okay, because you have always been peaceful. We have never seen you getting aggressive, getting upset, and it is good. We find it very homely. I'll be very honest. We find it okay. Galti ho bhi gayi. It's okay. There's no major point. He will help us out. He'll guide us through whatsoever. So that doesn't even makes us fearful. That no, how can we talk about it? Otherwise, he might. So your approach is definitely making us very calm, very composed, and even we are flawless. Even with the mistakes, sometimes internet glitches pops up. Sometimes the frame that was going to come up on screen, but before that we already talked about something else, and we know we'll be guided through. So that makes us also feel like home. And thank you for being in that way. So anything you would want to share with the audience right now about why esports, how to grow it, and how to be what you are?
So for esports, I consider it a very wide medium. It's not just there's just players and people who manage them who are the ones involved in this industry. There's people who work in analysis, people who work in production, people who work in design, people who work in administration. There's so many vast fields. So for anyone who really wants to work in the industry, the easiest way I would say is volunteer for some company, volunteer for a project, and see what you can do, grow. The whole industry is based more upon how well you know each other, because of course it's a very small industry. So the more work you do, the better it will be for your resume as well, because you will have access to more people and you will have access to more opportunities. So for people who just want to understand how to get started, just start anywhere. Start with any kind of small event, or even organize your own events and learn about it. That's the best way, because see, for a lot of people, the learning comes in when they start applying themselves, and that's pretty much what a lot of people in the industry have done.
Absolutely. And how do you take the time off? Because event after event after event, tend to get exhausted. So how do you take your time off?
Times off is a very rare thing, to be honest.
So you don't get any off?
We do get off, but of course, when you are passionate about something, for you, it's not really like a thing that takes a toll on you. So of course, I try to make as much time as I can, but for me, I'm really happy about what kind of work I do and the kind of impact I have on people's lives.
That is what the talk about is. You do what you enjoy, and that is not giving you that exhaustion. I need rest, I'm tired. You are enjoying, and to the viewers, that is the exact point. If you want to be what Method is, event manager, esports event manager, everything he is doing, he loves it. And there are various players here who wants to be manager eventually, because not everyone can be a good player, and he was one. But for players like me, I'm not a good esports player, but then I like talking about the games, so I ended up here. He was a good player, but ultimately deciding managing what he is at his best, so he is able to do. So final words for the audience, final words to the viewers that you would want to share, and also something inclusive of this pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. First thing, of course, I would like to talk about the point that you just made, that, hey, you could be a great player or you could not be a great player, but you can still find work in the industry. That is something I honestly want players who are right now the top players, or if you're the amateur players, to understand that it's not like you will always be at the best of your game. There will always be someone who might be better than you. So, of course, the industry has a big turnout rate. So, for most of the people, I've seen, they dedicated everything here, but of course it doesn't work out. That's also a reality of the industry. So I would honestly suggest that you should always try to have a way that you can continue this career in this industry with something else. Apply that discipline somewhere else. If you're not able to make it as a player, try to make it in something else. And if you have made it as a player, just make sure that being a player is not the only thing that you're going to be at. Because you see with Dota and CS, you have the old players who have now become casters, managers, or analysts, who have kind of established themselves in the industry right after their career has ended. So that's something that current, future, and any prospective player should also keep in mind, that going forward you should always see what else you can be doing, if not this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Method. It was great having you here. Looking forward to see you real soon. And that is
Absolutely.
it. Thank you so much.